Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about Shaboozey, who won a Grammy in of all genres, country music that comes from our forefathers from the slave field. This Nigerian is singing, and really, it was the one that really put him on the map was Beyonce. And he gets up to the mic and says that immigrants build this nation. Not only did immigrants not build this nation, even that country music you're singing, that didn't come from an immigrant either. But it's amazing how we get erased by every single Gentile group, y'all. Every single one tries to erase us. Now, we know since Donald Trump took office, he's been trying to not only erase us, but take our history out of the Smithsonian and any local museum. I showed you what they did in Philly at George Washington's house. They took down all of the plaques that spoke about his slaves that were there, and and they have weaponized because what they do is come up with acronyms, and then they take them and weaponize them against us, when really it really should be weaponized against the people that are doing it to us, because they keep harping on DEI, and the biggest DEI were white women. Just like affirmative action. They ran around here for decades. Affirmative action. Oh, we were getting everything because of affirmative action. We ain't get shit up in here over no affirmative action. White women, once again, was the biggest beneficiaries. And then it was what? CRT. Well, what the hell happened to CRT? Did it drop off the face of the earth? Because y'all were running around with that CRT. And see, the fact that it keeps changing from CRT to DEI, we know what you're doing is bogus. It's all bogus, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't keep changing. But it keeps changing every so many years. They come up with a new acronym to weaponize on us, and then the shit changes. That's how you know it's bogus. So Donald Trump is sitting there all hyped up over DEI and running people out of positions and everything. And he tried to clean out the museum, but he got stopped by the courts. So he was not able to go to the Black Smithsonian and clean it out the way he wanted to. And if you notice, ever since the court shut him down on that, he done went completely silent on it now. He don't even talk about it anymore. And I think some of our people may believe he cleaned out the museum. He wanted to, but he got completely shut down on that. So now it's bad enough we always got white people. Oh, well, we can't teach the history because of our kids. They gonna make the white kids feel a certain. No, it ain't making the white kids feel a damn thing. It's the white adults that feel that way. Y'all ain't fooling nobody trying to hide behind them kids. Donald Trump ain't fooling no damn body either, because that's all he's trying to do. Oh, every time he try to get rid of something, he's sitting up there harping on some kids. It ain't no kids doing that, bastard. It's you. It's the grown-ups that are having the issue, and you're trying to shield yourself with the children. So now here we go with the immigrants. All right. And you know what makes me laugh about the immigrants, y'all? They always, always, what do they love as? Where do you come from? What do you mean, where do we come from? We've been Americans longer than you've been a damn Nigerian. We've been Americans longer than y'all been Somalians. Y'all countries didn't become nations until the 1960s. So we have been more than a century Americans. And y'all are sitting here talking about we don't know where we come from. And we've been Americans longer than you have been in those African nations. Boy, y'all need to come and interact with me because I will I will do a spiritual body slamming on your ass. So anyway, Shaboozey gets up to the mic. He'd have made a career off of a music genre that came directly out of chattel slavery. And he proceeds to hype up immigrants. Now, y'all did not build the nation. The foundation of the nation was built during chattel slavery. And despite the fact that now, Mexicans are trying to claim they were doing things during that time, you're liars. There's a reason why every time you look at pictures out of chattel slavery, the only ones you see in those fields are our people. So, no, you are not going to come and tell us what you were doing during those times. That's one thing about chattel slavery. It was heavily documented. Heavily documented. So y'all can't come along now telling us what you were doing during those times and you were there and you were doing this and doing it. Yeah, I even heard a Mexican guy say they fought in the Civil War. Now, y'all, photography existed during the Civil War. In fact, that whole Civil War is photographed from the beginning of the war till the end. That entire war was photographed. And now there were nary Mexicans out there. There is no photos of Union Mexicans or Confederate Mexicans. It don't exist because you were not there. And see, this goes to show the ignorance of you immigrants. History did not start when immigrants showed up. History started centuries before your ass showed up. Okay? So when you come here and act like, oh, we'll just say we were there. No, you can't say you were there because all of that is documented. And when you look at the photos, all you see are white soldiers and black soldiers. There's a reason for that because you Mexicans did not fight in the Civil War, but they're going around on social media trying to claim they fought in the Civil War too. These people are such idiots. No wonder. Now I see y'all do got second grade educations. It shows. Trust me, it shows. So let's get into Shaboozey, who is literally making a living off of our people and disrespecting us all at the same time. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Yeah, your mother should be punished for calling you Shaboozey. Kind of damn name. Hey, you got to walk around for the rest of your life being called that. So, you got my sympathies, bruh. So, anyway, let's get started. Thank you, everybody.
Again, the last thing I want to say, immigrants built this country, literally. Uh, actually, so this is for them, for all children of immigrants. This is also for those who came to this country in search of better opportunity to be a part of a nation that promised freedom for all and equal opportunity to everyone willing to work for it. Thank you for bringing your culture, your music, your stories, and your traditions here. You give America color. I love y'all so much. Thank you.
I cannot believe that on the first day of Black History Month, Shaboozey got on the Grammy stage and fixed his mouth to say that immigrants built this country. The same Shaboozey who is in a genre that was created by Black Americans, the descendants of slaves, on a stage that was built, the foundation, the architecture by artists like Sam Cooke, James Brown, Sarah Vaughan, Michael Jackson. The list goes on and on. Black Americans. Bruh, I'm in disbelief. By repeating the lie that immigrants built this country, you're sanitizing the truth. The truth is that settlers, colonizers came to this country and genocided the natives. And they brought enslaved Africans to be the labor, to actually build the country. And when I say build the country, I'm not just talking about just physical labor, also expertise, agricultural expertise, medical expertise.
He's right, y'all. And let me tell you an FYI. Washington, D.C., the way it looks now, it didn't look nothing like that when our people went in there and put that place together. Washington, D.C., and you can look this up, was swamplands. Okay? Washington, D.C. was swamplands. And it was our people, our forefathers and foremothers, that took that place from swamplands to the way it looks today. And that was not done by immigrants. Okay? That was not done by no immigrant. That hard labor of ripping trees out, getting the land ready and prepared to, to handle construction and paving the roads, all of that came from our people. But if you go back in history, just look, all of Washington, D.C. was swamplands before they start building up in there. There was no immigrant around doing that back-breaking work. They probably had to take out thousands and thousands of trees just to make that place even halfway livable. That was done by our forefathers and foremothers. That wasn't done by no immigrant. And a lot of these places across America was like that. That backbreaking work was done by our people. So no, you don't let them get away with telling you immigrants came here. Yeah, you came after our people laid the foundation and you added on to it. Yeah, that part is true, but you did not build this nation. You didn't. So let's go on.
This lie has to stop. Yes, immigrants contributed to this country and they've added to this country. I am pro-immigrant. But when you say immigrants built this country, it erases the foundation of this country and the horrors that entailed to build this country. And even when you say something like they brought the Chinese to build the railroads, even that is factually incorrect, because over 10,000 miles of railroads were already built in the South by enslaved Africans. What are we talking about? That was what we talking about after that was westward expansion. The country was already built before those immigrants came here. Some of y'all need to do some serious research. This is, when Shaboozey said what he said, I don't think there was malicious intent. I think it's just a catchphrase that people are saying, especially with everything that's going on with ICE right now. There's pro-immigrant, sentiment out there. And again, I am pro-immigrant, but tell the truth and shame the devil. Black Americans, enslaved Africans built this country. People don't just migrate to nothing. They migrate to opportunity. So if we want to tell the full story, tell the real story, not the comfortable one, not the catchphrase, because a lot of this stuff is anti-blackness in disguise, and I need y'all to recognize it. Do better. It's Black History Month.
Shaboozey realistically is the perfect example on why I don't look for celebrities to speak out on certain things. Because I think he said what he said came from his heart, came from a pure place. And maybe, of course, he stumbled on his words. And that's one of the reasons why I don't, especially for younger artists, where it's like, and when I say even younger, like you could even be 30 something. But if these type of topics wasn't something that you was raised up on and you was really born with, or this is not a regular conversation that you have in your everyday life, you're going to stumble on your words. And that's the reason, realistically, probably the cleanest speech of the whole night when it comes to just like what everybody got super excited for, and that's how they really felt, was probably Kalani and then Billie Eilish. And I'm not as familiar with Billie Eilish as I am with Kalani, because Kalani, that's who she is. She even felt like the industry was blackballing her at one point in time because she was too outspoken. So realistically, that's just who she is to the core of her stomach. She's not going to stumble over her words. She's not going to stumble over how she actually feels. She's going to say what she means, and she's just going to keep it moving. If you get offended, it is what it is. But for Shaboozey and a lot of, and I even seen people, again, when I say you damn if you do, you damn if you don't, you're seeing people kind of on the fence because Kendrick Lamar didn't use that time and that platform to kind of say anything. He realistically just got on there, shout outs to the Calypso, shout outs to Tyler, the Creator, and people were upset about that. People were upset that Jelly Roll didn't say nothing. But I think sometimes you can't look for these celebrities to take the same thing, even if you love their music or you felt like that, like especially for Kendrick. I know it's probably rubs people more a different way with Kendrick because people feel like that is who Kendrick Lamar is. Like he's supposed to be this person to take this moment and kind of be like on some super strong pro-black and go crazy. But sometimes, I mean, he probably felt like, man, I put in the work already. That's why I am Kendrick Lamar. Already did it. I don't necessarily know. I'm not in his brain, but I kind of just look at even the backlash for Shaboozey. It's like, I look at it like with the Anthony Edwards situation or Victor Wembanyama, but everybody ain't built for that. Like I'm telling you, perfect, even tied into sports. The NBA players outside of probably like prime LeBron and KD and them when they was kind of Chris Paul, when they was really in their bag and they was going super like with the I Can't Breathe t-shirts and all that, like they was different. Like that group, like that Kevin Durant, D Wade, LeBron, that group was just different. Everybody ain't like that, dog. And in today's NBA, I'm not looking for an NBA player to say nothing. If you're talking about professional basketball players, I will go look for the WNBA to say something because that's who they are in their DNA. Those women, that's who they are. That is nothing new to them. That comes effortless to them to speak up on different topics that got their stuff to do with what's going on in the real world. Everybody ain't built like that. So I wouldn't sit here and get on here and crucify Shaboozey for the way he felt or how he may have stumbled over what he said or he may misspoke on certain situations, bro. Tell me one other time you actually seen him say something. Tell me another speech that you ever heard him give. Did you sit here comparing him to, or you feel like that was the level he was supposed to live up to? Everybody ain't supposed to talk on these topics, and that's one of the reasons why I will constantly say, stop looking for celebrities to speak on these topics, and you need to start bigging up more people like your Jasmine Crockett, your Angela Rice, and people in Nina Turner's, like people like that. If you're looking for people to use their voice, that's what they do. That's who they are. They built their brand and their personality on speaking up on these topics and using their voices. Stop looking for celebrities to be civil rights movement leaders because they not, dog. I'm sorry.
I say immigrants built this country.
Here we go.
Actually, so this is for them. For all children of immigrants, this is also for those who came to this country in search of better opportunity to be a part of a nation that promised freedom for all and equal opportunity to everyone willing to work for it. Thank you for bringing your culture, your music, your stories, and your traditions here. You give America color. I love y'all so much. Thank you.
Immigrants did not build the United States of America. Shaboozey talking about, thank you for bringing your culture and your music. Shaboozey does country music. Country music was founded, discovered, and created by Black American people. Shaboozey, from what I know, is an African man. I believe he's Nigerian. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know for sure he's African. And over in Africa, Why couldn't you pop in Africa? If y'all built this country, how did you know that there was any place to come to? You contradicted yourself, Shaboozey, by saying, oh, we were able to come here to seek better opportunity. That's because the country and the opportunity was already here because of Black Americans. I think it's so disrespectful. We already have to deal with whitewashing, the whitewashing of our history. A lot of our intellectual properties, our inventions, our ideas, and everything has been stolen by white people. And now we are subjected to it being stolen by immigrants. And I don't agree with this. And y'all want us to just shut the fuck up and sit down and let y'all do this and then holler out we're xenophobic when we say that we're separate from you all. And this is why. It's because y'all are trying to ethnically erase us. It's another form of colonization. And we're not going. We're not going. First, the mayor, Damdi, whoever the fuck, from New York, got up there and said immigrants built New York City. Now Shaboozey is saying immigrants built this country. How did immigrants build this country? And then in the same breath, you say, we came here for better opportunity. If this was a docile land with nothing on it, no infrastructure, no buildings, no culture, nothing, why would you come here? Before you even wanted to travel here or even think of an American dream, you, Shaboozey, with your super pigmented skin, you had to see Black Americans already doing it and accomplishing the dream to give you something to even look forward to, as well as every other immigrant.
Right. And another thing I want to add on to what this sister is saying, if immigrants built this country, especially the ones that come from Africa, how come your nation looks so bad over there? How come you didn't set an example by building up Africa? How do you leave Africa and then build a nation somewhere else? And your nation is, and Donald Trump ain't lie. Those places do look like shitholes. So how is it that you build this nation but didn't build your own? That doesn't make any sense. All of y'all, all of you, you know, not only Africans, but you Latinos too. Those countries y'all come out of look like pure shit. But you want everybody to believe you built this nation, then you should. Why didn't you build your own? Your own nation looks like crap. I've seen you let a flood or something hit in these locations, trash and pile up everywhere. And then when you look at the before picture, it really don't look that much better. So no, if your own nation don't look good, there's no way you came here and made anything better. It doesn't make any sense.
That is not just a straight up Caucasian. And y'all hijacking the civil rights movement, talking about, oh, civil rights, we deserve civil rights. First of all, if you are illegal, you cannot go to any other country and be an illegal citizen, an illegal immigrant, and then feel entitled and demand that the natives, the people that's on the land allow you to steal their culture, and while feed it back to them, sell it back to them, and make it seem like they have absolutely nothing to do with it. This is very disrespectful. And if y'all don't see what's happening, because we've been fed the lie that we need to be so super inclusive, when these people, especially over on the continent of Africa, are very tribal, they fight with each other. A Yoruba cannot go to an Igbo and say, I created Igbo, I created the foods that y'all eat, I'm in control of the language. That's not happening. They kicking each other out of the African countries over in Africa. Go and do some research. But yet they come here and they try to discredit Black Americans. They try to discredit chattel slavery. They try to discredit the fact that us, along with some of the pilgrims before the Ellis Islanders even came over here, when the conquistadors and all of them, we were the ones that was the labor force. Black American people, indigenous American people, y'all was calling African American, whatever which way you want to turn the key, was the first labor force in the United States of America. We built all of this. Now, I'm not saying that y'all didn't come here and add, but if you walk into a house that's already built, did you build a house or did you maybe reinstall a light bulb? Did you create the electricity? Did you build the toilet or did you plunge the toilet when it was stopped up? Did you paint the house or did you repair the paint once the paint started chipping? Did you lay the wood or did you repair the wood or the tile that was on the floor that needed to be replaced? I'm so sick of this. It's like recolonization, and like y'all literally are trying to erase us. And I get it. ICE is a thing. Y'all are fighting. We're going real hard for people that's illegal, which I don't understand that either. Now I can see if they literally were just out there assembling for a task force, just rounding up Latinos, Hispanics, Africans, Caribbeans, Eurasians, Europeans. I would understand that. But the ICE force is literally an agency that's enforcing immigration laws. They're not just rounding people up. Y'all comparing them to slave catchers and doing all of these other things, like trying to literally co-opt and colonize our history to make it fit your narrative. And it's disrespectful. It is utterly disrespectful. Immigrants did not build the United States of America. Black Americans did. Y'all wouldn't have been, like I said, you wouldn't have been able to come over here in search of a better nothing if it wasn't already better over here. What y'all think about this? It's getting to a point of they're trying to rewrite history. They're acting like white people at this point. They're acting like oppressive ass white people. They keep saying we, Black Americans or FBA in particular, are white supremacists. No, immigrants got this immigrant superiority complex and they're trying to erase us. At least the white man will get up here and acknowledge the fact that we fucking contributed to this country. Y'all acting like we don't even fucking exist. And I'm not going for it. Now, you could get up in the comments and pop it and be mad and offended. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Because if all it takes is for y'all to bring y'all culture and make the world more colorful, then your own country should be lit up like a Christmas tree. If all you got to do is just work so hard, your own country, y'all all work hard, should be lit up like a Christmas tree. I love some African people. I love some Latino people. I love some Swedish people. I love people, some Asian people. I love all types of people. As a collective, though, the ones that's talking for y'all, that's getting up on these podiums, that's getting up on world stages, are trying to erase me and my ethnicity and my lineage, and I'm not going for it. It's disrespectful. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. What y'all think?
Who is an immigrant in America, and was America built by immigrants? Yesterday was the Grammys, and there was a strong sentiment in support of immigrants and against ICE. There was a statement that Shaboozey said yesterday that deserves some discourse. Immigrants built this country, literally. So this is for them. You guys remember not too long ago, Zohran Mamdani made the same statements. Now, if we're being honest and we're being pedantic, to say America was a country built by immigrants solely is a complete rewriting of history, and it's disingenuous and erases the story of Black Americans in this country. One of the sentiments I've noticed online over the past couple of years is that everyone across the world associates America with immigration, and they think nothing is indigenous to America. Like Americans don't have food, Americans don't have culture, Americans don't have anything that is unique to here. And they don't do that for any of the other countries in the Americas, whether it be the Caribbean or South America. And I understand why that is. It's because American hegemony has ran the world for the last century. And with that, American culture and American story has become synonymous with pop culture. So people don't feel the need to divulge and dig deeper. There is no reality that anyone who is a descendant of those formerly enslaved Black Americans in America could be an immigrant. We are the product of forced migration to the New World. And we are one of the foundational Americans. I said previously that the only foundational Americans when this country was created are Black Americans, Native Americans, and those original European descendants. Anyone that came later is an immigrant. Immigration and immigration means leaving a country voluntarily to move and settle somewhere else, whether it be permanently or with their hope of returning home. None of the countries in Africa existed when the slave trade was going on. So no one in the Americas could be an immigrant by definition. We have been in America prior to the inception of America being a country. I say that to say that doesn't erase immigrants from the story of America, because those Chinese and Japanese immigrants that came here helped expand America westward. And without them, that wouldn't have occurred. The subsequent European migration that happened through Ellis Island helped develop all the major cities like Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, New York. Without our Filipino and Caribbean aunties, we wouldn't have any nurses to take care of us. Without our Mexican and Central American compadres working in the farms, we wouldn't have access to food the way that we do have it, or tend your gardens, or tend your home. So there's so many things that add to the story of America, and immigrants are definitely at the core of the American system, the American story, and American history. But when we're telling that history, we have to tell it correctly, because no Black American will be offended by you saying immigrants definitely developed this country. They developed the country alongside Black people, but at its foundation, for centuries before immigrants came, Black people were here forcibly, free labor forcibly. They helped develop these Fortune 500 companies, from cotton and tobacco farms forcibly. All those other immigrants that came at least got paid, whether they were paid pennies on a dollar, they were still paid, and they were never slaves. So when it comes to telling history correctly, especially during Black History Month, we have to say things correctly. And it's not a dig. I know what he meant, but a lot of people don't know what he meant, because I've seen comments saying, well, how are Black Americans not immigrants? You can't be immigrants in a country you were forced to come to. In the same way that Black Americans aren't immigrants, you would never call a Brazilian an immigrant, a Jamaican an immigrant, a Haitian an immigrant, a Dominican an immigrant. But for some reason, you guys can't seem to grasp that Black Americans are the same exact descendants of those who exist in the Caribbean and exists in South America. Happy Black History Month.
They need to start testing the jollof rice for drugs, because this sounds utterly crackish, right? You just received the award for country music. It gets no more American than country music. Immigrants had nothing to do when it came to the creation of country music itself, engineered by Black Americans and gate kept by white Americans, right? It's as American as apple pie. And then Beyonce is the one who opened up more doors for him to expand his career, and then turn around and smack the descendants of Adolf, the descendants of free men who built this country, in the face on Black History Month. Now, if you want to incorporate or include immigrants into whatever narrative or agenda you pushing, it should be a truthful narrative and agenda. But far as immigrants laying the foundation of the infrastructure of this country, they had nothing to do with it. And for the expansion of this country, white immigrants, right? Because remember, they were keeping all the Black immigrants out of this country. So if anybody had anything to do with the expansion of the infrastructure in this country, was white immigrants, because Black immigrants didn't come until later, far down. But yeah, what a smack to the face of the descendants of Adolfs and free men. Happy Black American History Month. Period.
They really got on here and said immigrants built America. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I be talking about every day. This is why we cannot. This is why delineation is happening. Because Black people are tired. Black American people are tired of being erased in the history of the country we built. That's the wild part about it. This is our history. And they just act like words don't mean things. You are saying those words very specifically. You know damn well we not immigrants. Like, stop. We're not. We're written into the Constitution. How are we immigrants? Don't make no sense. So y'all just really trying to play us. Yeah. And then they wonder why FBA is growing. After all these years, you would have thought FBA would have fizzled out by now. It's been on here for years. But it ain't. It's just getting bigger. And it's because of stuff like that. Because even the most docile, like, passive Black person be like, I don't like that shit. Yes, it's pride. Yes. Hold on. What about me? What? I got 40 million people here. You gonna leapfrog over them to go to the immigrants? Like, what? That is wild. We were here before all these people. That's crazy.
So I just came across a video from a Nigerian American man who was explaining how Shaboozey's speech at the Grammys, talking about how immigrants built America, how Black Americans are taking it out of context because there's so much distrust in our community and in our country. Me, as a Black American, I'm taking that as him saying, you guys just have so much trust issues because that's not what he meant. Like, you guys just need to relax. Unfortunately, you guys are responding to his speech this way because the climate that this country is in. Again, to me, this is me personally, as a Black American, I am offended by Shaboozey's statement and offended by this man's response to Black Americans' response. I want to address like a couple of things regarding Shaboozey's speech. I think it is once again so disrespectful and belittling for anyone to comment on Black Americans' response to Shaboozey's statement stating that immigrants built this country, because it is wrong. And when we Black Americans point that out, when we say that is not true, these are the facts, the response to us is like, ugh, again, you guys always have to center yourselves. This isn't the time to be doing this. Shut up. So when is the time? Because it seems that anytime we try to correct people on American history, on Black history, we're told to be quiet. It is never, ever, ever the wrong time to provide an accurate version of history. It is never going to be the wrong time to tell the truth. It is never going to be the wrong time to educate someone on facts. It will always be the wrong time to allow someone to run off with false narrative and then repeat that false narrative to major audiences. The second thing I find offensive are all the people going, you guys know what he meant. You guys just want something to be mad about. How would we know what he meant? He didn't say Black Americans built the foundation of this country on top of stolen land, had to fight for civil rights, which allowed for immigrants of color to then come here and build on top of the foundation they built, and it helped sustain this country. He didn't say that. So how would I know that's what he meant? He said immigrants built this country. Why would I know that's what he meant? That's not what he said. So yes, he's going to be corrected. There's going to be criticism. And when y'all allow shit like that to slide, all it does is further the divide. And someone is telling an inaccurate story of history in a time where history is being erased, specifically Black history. When that is happening, you need to correct them immediately. You need to educate them immediately. You don't wait. You don't wait just because, oh, we're in a moment where immigrants are the center of danger. Yes, they are. But that doesn't give the excuse to then give false narratives. It just doesn't. You can center immigrants. You can prioritize immigrants while still telling an accurate version of history, while still giving credit and appreciation to the people who suffered before they got here. It's very frustrating. And this is what I mean. It when you let shit like that happen, it just builds resentment, builds distrust. At no moment should we ever excuse the erasure of a group and their contributions and their history. Just like we should not allow it for immigrants.
Immigrants built this country. If you're new here, my name is EP, your Black American guide to all things Black American history, culture, and conversation all year long. What some people may not know is this idea that immigrants built this country and the idea of the American dream didn't start with TikTok conversation, but it's been happening for quite some time now. It was historically weaponized against Black American people as a way to dismantle their case around things such as reparations. In 1965, James Baldwin had a debate against William Buckley centering a very similar topic. Baldwin argued that the idea of the American dream, or America being the land of opportunity, came at the expense of the American Negro, or in today's terms, Black American and or African American.
Not an overstatement. I picked the cotton, and I carried it to market, and I built the railroad under someone else's whip for nothing. The Southern oligarchy, which has until today so much power in Washington, and therefore some power in the world, was created by my labor and my sweat, and the violation of my women and the murder of my children.
But Buckley, on the other hand, his argument was no, because my grandparents worked in this country too. And he used that argument as a way to support his stance that Black Americans' experience in this country wasn't enough to fully support the laws and policies that uplifted civil rights only.
This is a capitalization that was not created exclusively as a result of Negro travail. My great-grandparents worked too. Presumably yours worked also. I don't know of anything that has ever been created without the expense of something.
In this debate, James Baldwin didn't undermine the contributions of other people or how the United States exploited cheap labor, but rather he emphasized and highlighted who built this country because he knew that the U.S. has historically used the American dream at the expense of Native American and Black American people. So now what? Where do we go from here? Black History Month was originally started to address real issues. And as Black people in America, sometimes we're going to have uncomfortable conversations. We are human. Say it with me. We are human. Just because we're all Black doesn't mean that we're going to know everything about one another. And while we are learning things about one another and learning things about our first and second generation cousins and learning things about Black American people who have been on this land for hundreds of years, it's going to take for us to be mindful of the language that we use, because our progress in America is going to depend on it.
I'm not gonna lie, as an immigrant, I see why a lot of Black Americans don't care about whatever's going on when it comes to immigration, and really don't have too many nice things, particularly to say when it comes to immigrants. Because what do you mean immigrants built this country? Do you know at a particular time in history that the U.S. supplied 75% of the world's cotton? And we know where the cotton came from. It came from slavery. If it wasn't for slavery, you think the U.S. would have been able to win the war against the English? You think they would have had the economic power to do so? Do you know even the states that got rid of slavery still benefited off of slavery? What do you mean immigrants built this country? What do you mean? Immigrants did not build this country, bro. And I really see the disrespect a lot of Black Americans be feeling when immigrants come to this country and forget, like, how this country came to be, like, who's the reason, you're able to do all of these things when you come to this country. And you gonna come to this country and say immigrants built this country. Lord have mercy.
Immigrants built this country, literally. Actually.
Can you imagine not knowing Black American history while being a Black country artist who has experienced racism in America? You being a Black country artist is because of Black Americans. Black Americans are not immigrants, right? Let's get that out the way, right? Black Americans are not immigrants. And there's nothing wrong with saying immigrants helped build this country, but you cannot sit here and say that immigrants built this country, because the truth is you're going to sit here and erase the history of Black America. Black America has its own unique history, and the uniqueness about this is that this country was built on the backs of Black Americans. Now, they try to tell you that it wasn't. They try to tell you, oh, well, because of all the other industries that we had in America, that this is why America is such a powerhouse. No, the truth is America is a powerhouse because of free slave labor and a genocide inflicted upon one group of people specifically, more specifically than anybody else, right? They inflicted a genocide upon Black Americans. And people need to stop trying to erase the history of Black America if you really want the Black diaspora to actually come together. Because at the end of the day, just like Caribbeans are all not the same, just like Africans are all not the same, we are also not the same. Tethers have a distorted view about history a lot of times. So you cannot tell me the fact that he is a Nigerian American that it does not play a role in his point of views.
Well, y'all, I agree with a lot that was said on the videos, and I have to tell you, a lot of this is being done on purpose. It is, you know, and the immigrants don't exactly come here to try to learn about things. That's why you hear them say so many falsehoods, because at the end of the day, they really don't care. They don't care. But I think it's very clear there is never going to be any unity with Hamites, with Edom, and all of these groups for that matter. There is none. You know, black and brown and all that stuff. There is never going to be that unity. And if you don't see that by now, you just don't want to see it. There is no coming together with these people. And there is no point going round and round online with them. That is counterproductive. All they're going to do is stand on their square. They're not going to listen. And that's fine with me. You know, that's why a lot of people say, delineation was the best thing that could happen. And I agree. This is the one time in modern times, I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about our forefathers in the past because they did come together for many things. But in modern times, this is probably one of the biggest things we have done in this century. The separation have to happen. Okay, it is very clear we cannot coexist among Gentiles, and yes, even the melanated Gentiles like your Hamites, those are Gentiles too. We just can't coexist with these people. And it is very clear. Relationships are never going to improve or get better. It is just not in the stars for that to happen, especially in a Gentile world. No. No. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the donations. And I did get a few more from in my send give go, and I mean my give send go. And I am grateful and I thank you for that. And may the Most High bless you tenfold for your donation. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. And I did get 2 Zells, and I thank the people that sent me Zell. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate it. So, y'all, got one more live coming up at 3:45. The SBA just cut all green card holders. So you have to be American in order to get an SBA loan. So if you are an immigrant, you are no longer getting any loan money from the SBA. So we will get more into that at 3:45. So everybody, I will see you then. Have a wonderful afternoon. Shalom, family.